your athleticism has caught up to maybe kind of the mental side for you?
Definitely. I think it goes hand in hand. I think that's what's helping me develop my game to increase even more is just putting that athleticism with the smartness and putting it together. So.
I feel like you've been challenged at all as a leader just with the off-the-field thing that took place last week and making sure everybody's kind of got their heads on right?
Definitely. It's some adversity, but we always got to move forward and do what we have to do. So it's definitely made sure I got to step up even more and just continue to build off of that. We have a lot of guys still, so there's other people that can step into roles and are ready to play now. So.
How like Bennett and Jeffrey looked filling in at I think it's Star, the nickel spot.
Yes, sir. Bennett's done a great job. He's a seasoned vet, really, and just getting that shine. He did a good job at dime last year, so doing it now at the nickel spot, he's done a great job. And then Jeff's coming along. He's young, but you can tell he's a little older than his years just with his play, and it shows. And I think he'll be another guy that can make a little bit of an impact as well.
Are there differences between the nickel under Avalos and DeRuyter, or is it similar responsibility?
I would say there's some differences, but also some similarities. So it just depends on the call, and then our coach has done a good job of implementing even more techniques and just being able to build on that tool belt. So.
Body type-wise, though, like the bigger guy, like a Jamal or a Jeffrey or Bennett, that's still a good fit for what that role does?
It is. It allows us to be able to stay in nickel if there is a 12 personnel, 13, whatever it is, and still have those bigger bodies who can take on blocks and still are able to cover as well.
What is, I guess, going on at the safety spots? What have you kind of seen next to you? Because you're a veteran now at this, and it feels weird saying that because you're still, like a sophomore in theory or whatever?
Yes, sir.
I don't know what the heck they're calling you now. But like, what's that kind of been like working with somebody new? Because Nick had been back there for a long time.
It's been pretty easy. Me and Steve came in together, so it's been really easy, just that transition. And then even Scoop and Hap, of course, two guys as well. Hap's been here as well, so it's been easy with him. And then Scoop, another young guy, but somebody that really, he flashes, makes plays, he flies around. So it's been pretty easy of a transition.
I was going to ask about Scoop because it seems like we hear his name all the time. But why is he someone who gets brought up so often?
Just a true football player.
Yeah.
Just always around the ball, always flying to the ball. And just another young guy that you can tell when somebody's young and like, okay, they're going to be really good, and he's one of those guys.
Really good now?
I think now. I wouldn't be surprised. You see him in the game, special teams, on defense, different packages, another guy that we can put it somewhere, and he's able to make plays there.
I guess we'll talk all the young guys. What about the three true freshman corners? I know Jalen was here in the spring, but Darren and Avante.
They've done a great job. Darren and Avante are two guys. I was just like, wow. They can play as well. So it's really crazy because this freshman class, you look at all of them and it's like these guys can really make an impact now. So they've been rolling in. They've been scrappy. They've been scrappy with the receivers and they're not afraid to come up and hit, especially being in pads these past few days. They showed they're not afraid to stick their nose in the run game. So a lot of guys, a lot of guys.
You go up against the receivers. Have you seen a noticeable difference in talent from when you first got here to now? Not to criticize the older grades.
Oh no, for sure. Of course, like I came in with Dylan Mitchell, so it was tough then, and then being inside. But we're deep. There's a lot of guys from freshmen to guys who've been here like Micah, Johnny, Chris Hudson's another guy that's also somebody that flashes. So it is a little different just having so much depth and guys that can really make plays. So as ones come in, and then let's say somebody goes deep, you bring in another receiver, and it's like you got to be on your P's and Q's at all times.
Overall, just kind of coaching differences between Avalos and DeRuyter?
Both energetic. Coach Avalos was super smart, and Coach DeRuyter is super smart. So it's really hard to pick and choose, really, but both great. I think they're real good philosophers, and they understand what they're doing, especially Coach DeRuyter's been in this for quite some time now, so he's had some good defenses from A&M to Cal, Fresno State, so you can tell, and it shows. He knows what he's doing in all phases. He's been a DB coach. He understands the linebackers, the D-line, so he understands the lingo. He understands, so it makes more sense when we talk to him. He knows exactly what we're talking about, and he can regurgitate anything and any piece of the defense, so he does a good job.
I know last year a lot of folks talked about how difficult installs was or bringing up, schemes and concepts were just because of the nature of the season last year. Among your younger guys, are you kind of seeing it maybe permeate a little bit easier now that things are kind of back to normal a bit?
Definitely. Just from a group perspective, Coach Jason's really done a really good job with us. Just from the time he came in, and then we meet so much with being in camp, so we get guys on the board and we want to draw it up. And not just drawing up the secondary, but drawing up the whole defense, where the front might be going, where the D-line, where the linebackers need to fit. So, everybody's understanding football, not just the secondary, not just what we do, but what our entire defense does and how every piece is a part of the puzzle that has to be there.
Are there any underclassmen that you've seen, at least, I know it's early, but guys that have picked it up particularly quick?
Scoop, of course, is one of them. Jeff, and then the corners. All the corners have picked it up pretty easily. So I think we've done a good job. Even the coach has done a great job of just, putting it in us, implementing it, and us spending time together, even bonding with your coach and being able to understand how everybody learns information and processes. So.
Do you think the defense is at the point that when a play call is made, you don't really have to think about your responsibility, you just immediately know it and you're able to react in real time?
For the most part, I think spring was really, really helpful in that case, and then just doing it throughout the summer with the player-led practices as well and things getting back to normal. So for the most part, it's just, okay, we get the call and now we're making our adjustments, motions, personnel, whatever it is, and then we're just flying and just going. So I think we've been up to speed with the defense and we make plays.
Cool. And Coach Cristobal's talked about how Joe Moorhead's system was not able to be fully implemented last year because of COVID. Have you just been noticing even in practice that there's new stuff being implemented that you guys didn't see last year?
Definitely. Sometimes we get thrown for a loop back there, which is a good thing. It's the competitive nature of it, but I think the offense has a lot of fireworks coming just in all phases because we have a lot of guys. We have a lot of running backs. We have a lot of receivers. And I think AB's ready to go. I know you hear a lot of talk about AB. He didn't really start last year or transfer, all of that. I think he understands the position he has, and he's really poised. And I think that's going to help him a lot, just help carry this team. He's another one of those leaders. And, it's hard to win college football games without a good quarterback. But I think AB's the guy for it. So.
And so last year, the team went 4-3, still won the Pac-12, but I feel like I got the idea that some of the players weren't really happy with how the season transpired. What's been happening this summer to make sure that this is the best season that it can be?
We knew we didn't want to repeat last year. We knew that some guys left. We had some guys come in, and we were like, here's our goals. Let's establish our identity now. Let's pick this up. Really, once we got back from the bowl game, we were like, that can't happen again. We're not going to let it happen again. And I feel like from workouts to player-led practices to even meetings, and just the spring was super helpful. All of that, and then being able to bond with your teammates. We go bowling, we go go-karting, we go to Top Golf. We do things together off the field, and we're all super close. And I think that's going to be a big part of our success this year.
You've been here for a while now. Do you consider yourself a leader on the defense, and who else is on this defense?
Most definitely. I consider myself a leader. I feel like, so of course there's me, KT, Noah Sewell, Mike Hill, and then Big Dorless. Those are probably the main guys that really are the big leaders of this defense. So, and then, just those are the guys really.
Awesome. Verone, what do you hope to see on Saturday's scrimmage?
Well, for one, I hope the defense wins the scrimmage. I'll tell you that right now. And I think it'll be fun. I hope we get to compete, go back and forth. But really, just me being a defensive guy, I want to dominate the scrimmage in all phases, from the D-line getting the push, linebackers not letting anything get through gaps, and then coverage, no explosive plays. We pride ourselves on defense. There's no explosive plays at all. So that's what I'm trying to see. Just, especially some of the young guys come in and really get that true feel. Being an Autzen, really more of a game-like. You can fully tackle and everything. So just a mixture of everything.
How has Jeffrey Bossa kind of acclimated to his role?
He's done a great job. Jeff is already super developed, just even physically and mentally. So he's picking the defense up. He's flying around. He's understanding where he needs to be. And him coming in early was a big help for him. And I think that it's carried over into the fall. So he's another guy that I think can shine a little bit on game day.
What have you seen from Dante as well? Just his opportunities are maybe a little bit bigger than they are right now because of what's going on, but just his opportunity at hand.
He knows what he needs to do, and he's super hungry. That's the biggest thing probably with just all the corners. But Dante's super hungry, and he's another guy that wants to get in your face, and he's not afraid to come up and press you and get scrappy at the line. So he's had a great 4 practices, and I'm excited to see him continue to build off of it.
What do you think of this new acclimation period? Pads don't get on until Thursday. Do you like it? Do you wish pads were on earlier? What's just your feedback?
I like it. I mean, the Spiders, it was almost like we were already in pads, kind of. You feel acclimated to something being on your shoulders. So it's been fun. I mean, I treat it kind of like this is a job. It's something I want to do in the future. So I treat it like a job. We're here 6:45 in the morning. We get here super early, and we stay till 8 o'clock, 8:15. You may do extra afterwards. So just got to treat it like a job, and I enjoy it. So.
Bennett said that it felt like there were less injuries, guys felt more fresh. Do you feel that way?
Yes, sir. I definitely feel more fresh. Of course, being in shorts and having the shells, we get the thud, you get the physicality, you get all of that, but being able to stay up, you get your legs conserved a little bit, and just, especially the treatment. Everybody goes in for treatment. It's mandatory. We have to do it. We pride ourselves on taking care of our body because that's all going to matter. So.
You guys are replacing two defensive tackles that were here forever, in Jordan and Austin. You've seen Brandon Dorless kind of go from a basketball player to a football player. What have you seen from him in this camp that makes you think he could be a special guy?
I think Dorless showed he was special freshman year when the first time I really he can really play was against Stanford, and I think he's built on that. And now that those two guys are seniors and they left, I think he's going to have a super big breakout year, especially because we know we have KT on the edge. Everybody knows KT. I think he's one of those quieter guys that can really shine with those one-on-one battles, and as well as Popo. Popo's another guy. He's been here. He's made some big plays in some big games, and now he has kind of that full-on job, and I think he's another guy that's going to have one of those big years. So I think we're going to do a good job of stopping the run and being able to attack the passer.
KT mentioned at media day that he expects teams to double team him, and if he was going against him, he would do the same thing every play. Just what does that do for the opportunities for the rest of the guys along the D-line or that front seven to have one-on-ones and their opportunities?
It's perfect because if he does get double teamed, you're leaving other guys with one-on-ones, and if you want to max protect, you're taking away from more routes being out there, which makes it easier in the secondary if we got to cover 2-3-man routes. So it's almost like you got to pick your poison. You can't do all of them at once. So I think it's going to be helpful, and then you're going to have to realize you're going to have to guard him one-on-one, and that's when he can really shine and do what KT does. So it helps everybody. That's the biggest thing.
With your quiz, Bridges, what have you seen out of him that makes him particularly well suited for that corner spot since you need that jump?
He's long, he's lanky, and he can run. So being able to kind of back up and use those long arms and still turn and run with really anybody has been helpful. And then him mentally understanding football, understanding the game, understanding how to go from safety to corner and how to play the position has been super helpful for him. And, of course, another guy that's hungry. He wants to play. He wants to be that guy. And, you hear about Mike Hill and all of that, but he knows I want that other side. I'm hungry, and I want to go make plays, and he's done that. So he's been having a good camp so far.
It'd be pretty nice to be 6'3" at that kind
man.
of spot.
It would be, but, hey, I think he's done a good job.
Verone, as somebody who made the switch from nickel to deep safety and can still do both, what do you see in Bennett and his ability to go from deep safety to box safety and now playing that star, nickel, whatever we're calling it?
Bennett is probably one of the most instinctual guys in our room, and I think that him being played college football before and playing safety and then being able to still have that year where he was at dime and he played the nickel and being able to kind of understand how to cover in the slot has been helpful for him, and I think he understands that now, and it's been able for him to accept that role, and I think he's done a great job at it. And another guy that's super smart because he's one of those veterans and he understands everything just in a college football perspective. He's able to be quick and understand where to go and where he needs to be. So Bennett's ready for it.
And I'm guessing it's pretty similar with Hap in that they both kind of have that acumen and experience of playing deep but also playing in the box.
Right, exactly. And Hap's another guy, probably one of the smartest guys I've been around, and that's something I love about him. But Hap can play all over the place. It's almost like another person that you have, like a coach on the field, because he knows where everybody needs to be and his job, and he does a great job at it as well. Another guy that you wouldn't expect it, but he can really come up there and has some speed, and he's able to stay in front of guys. So.
We know that you run the secondary for the ones. With the moving parts right now, who's really running the show with the twos? Because there's a lot of true and second-year players out there who haven't had a lot of game experience.
It just depends who's out there. I think in the safety room, we pride ourselves on taking control because this defense works through us. We got to take control. So we're always talking whether that's whoever, Steve, Hap, Scoop, just anybody who's out there. Brian Addison's done a good job of really taking command of those twos and really understanding that transition from receiver to safety. So he's done a good job as well of really taking control and making the calls. So we've done a good job of it.